do, so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that, spitting slow, spitting fast. I could roast, I could gas, think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible.
Well, I figured I'd take that off because you guys are probably thinking, well, you know, Jay, you're running too much opening events. So I figure I'd try and do that and then go right to me in the beginning. How about that? We'll try it out and see if it works. And if y'all like it, then we'll continue to do so. But anyway, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, no matter where you are in the world. You know what it is. Jay with you once again on a live stream right here on JJ's PC Builds. And if this is your first time here, make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, don't forget about the notification bell. And if you want to become part of the family, which you're already part if you subscribed, but if you want to become a lifelong member, well, if you want to become an exclusive member of the faction, then hit the join button. It helps out the channel. Alright, as I slide my big butt up onto the chair. No, I'm already on the chair. But anyway, we're here to talk about today software. I know some people are sitting there saying 576.88 from Nvidia didn't seem like it gave anything to the GPU, which you're right, it didn't. It only enhanced a couple games. It only brought the 0-day driver startup for the RTX 5050. But it really didn't bring much anything else. As I tested it on the last live stream, which was on Wednesday, and compared it with the week before, it didn't bring any improvements whatsoever when it comes to the last driver, which was 576.80 compared to 576.88. So there's really not much more to report on that, but there are some people that are saying, Jay, I really can't get a 5050 series card. Well, if you want, and I'm going to say this, if you want current generation graphics card, then yeah, that's the minimal that you can get. Not unless Nvidia comes out with an RTX 5040, which I don't really see that being viable. Truthfully, I really don't see the 5050 being viable because, not because of the drivers, it's because for $80 more, you can always, if you want to flip the script and say, I want a 16 gigabyte graphics card. That, the VRAM has to be 16 gigabytes. Okay, here's the viable source. You got the 9060 XT with 16 gigabytes of VRAM for $80 more, which we can take a look at. So let's flip the script and look on the action screen and see what's cooking. And before we do, don't forget your drink and snacks. I got mine. Now that we got that out of the way, let's see what's cooking. Okay, now we're over here on the action screen. I am doing everything with you guys one at a time. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Newegg. And if you don't have an account with them, that's okay. But at least you can get a look. So if we say we want the 9060 XT, so we say the RX 9060 XT 16 gigabyte, right there is $390. Okay, $90 more. So, but you go down a little bit more, you can get it for $380. Is it the overclock version? No. Is this the overclock version? No. So we go down a little bit more. We look for an overclock version. Is this an overclock version? No. So we're looking, and the prices are getting better. So that's $70. $70. That says direct from XFX. Since you guys are seeing this live, this is the FXX Mercury AMD RX 9060 XT-OC 16 gigabyte. And that says $440 compared to $369. So what we're looking for is an overclock version, and that's what we're looking for. I know the other one says, yeah, it's overclocked, but who wants to pay $419? So the best we can do, which there's only like 3 to 5% difference anyway. I mean, even if you got this ASRock Challenger right here for $370, we can also take, we'll leave that there, we'll hit Newegg again. We'll go back into the store, and then now we're going to look for the RTX 50. We'll look at the 5050 first. So, out of stock. See, out of stock. See, this is ridiculous. Now, if you want a gaming laptop, then, you know, I mean, out of stock, 5090. Wow. 5070s, $700, $600, 5080. You get a 850 watt PSU with this for a 5070 Ti for $900. So you save $80 and get it for $820. That's getting close, but that's not why we're here today. 5060 Ti. Let's go RTX 5060. So, we don't want pre-built systems. I don't know why they keep showing me pre-builts. So, 5060 Ti, 16 gigabytes, compared to, let's just say, $460, compared to $370. So we pop up the calculator. You'll see the point here. So we'll say $370, right? And then you minus that from the $460. So that's a $90 savings. $90 in between the two. We know that the 5060 is 8 gigabytes of VRAM. We know that the 5060 Ti has 8 and 16 gigabyte of VRAM. Hello there, Born Joker. Good to see you, man. Are you actually looking to buy, or are you just looking? Right now, I am just looking. I am just looking because they're saying the fact of that the prices are supposed to be coming down. I'm weighing the prices when I check them on Friday compared to today to see if they are making any kind of effort to come down. So that way I can let you guys know that the prices are coming down. But from what I'm seeing is the prices are sitting still a little bit. Some are coming down, but some aren't. But weighing the difference between a $90 difference between the 9060 XT 16 gigabytes for $370 and going over here to a 5060 Ti 16 gigabyte for $460 gives you a $90 difference between the two. Here's the kicker. AMD just updated the software. Some people are reporting on the 9060 XT 16 gigabytes that they're getting better performance now. Some people are reporting on the 9070 XT 16 gigabytes. They're getting better performance. Some people are claiming the 9060 with 16 gigabytes is getting better performance because of the new driver update. Well, total software update. So, what I'm bringing along is the difference between A and B. If you actually wanted to buy something, I could tell you the best way to get it. I know you probably would. But right now, I'm sitting still because I'm saving my money for that next big thing. Okay, I'm weighing my options with AMD and I'm weighing my options with Nvidia. Intel, I can't really weigh my options with because they haven't brought out anything that's of value. Everybody's going to say, well, don't count out the B580. Oh, yeah, we can. We can count out the B580 because when you got an 8 gigabyte graphics card keeping up with the 12 gigabyte graphics card, there's a problem. So that's the reason why I'm counting out the B580. Because it's, if you go on the market looking for the B580, it's in between $300 and $400. Why would you buy a 12 gigabyte card when you can get a 16 gigabyte card for $370? I was thinking about getting this card. I say was is because I don't know if I'm more fashioned either to MSI or Asus. You know, ASRock doesn't have bad cards. It's just I don't hear a lot of people talking about them. You know, I really don't. VRAM isn't everything. You have to look at the bus as well. Yeah, you're right, I do. I mean, I know I see the bus at 100, 128 bit, you know. But when are they going to give us decent low budget cards with 256 bit? Well, if we go backwards and we really want to look at it, your older system cards that are back 1 to 2 generations give you 256 bit. But the problem is the reason why they don't want to do this anymore is because they know them older cards, they can add the 8 gigabyte cards, they can double up the VRAM on those cards. If they're 256 bit cards, they can double up the VRAM and get 16 gigabytes on there, or 22 gigabytes. If you've been watching YouTube, there's been a lot of system graphic card builders that are able to get 16 and 22 gigabytes of VRAM on them older cards. And this is really one reason why they don't want to do it anymore on the newer cards. This is the reason why you're going to have a hard time trying to get more VRAM on the newer cards, is because of the way the chip is built. So the 5070 outperforms or matches all those only 12 gigabytes. Yeah, so does the 4070 Super. If you take away the multi-frame generation away from the 5070, it's naked. It has no legs. If you take away the software enhancements of the 5070, it has no legs. If you take the enhancements away from the 9070 XT, it has no legs. They're getting their performance through the software. It's not hardware they're getting it from. The base hardware itself is just, it's not there. I remember when the 60 series 3060 would come with a 192-bit bus. Yeah. Because that had 12 gigabytes of VRAM, but still it didn't have much legs. And people did enjoy it for gaming. A lot of people enjoy it for gaming. They're not into all the AAA games and stuff like that. They just like it for esports games and stuff like that. I mean, they can rock with it all day long, and it's a low price. But if you look at the price of the 3060 12 gigabyte is almost equal to the 9060 XT 16 gigabytes. So even that's got a 192-bit bus. The 128-bit bus 9060 XT outperforms it. I mean, you can't get around what's true. So 5070 matches the 4070 Ti Super. I don't know. The changes they've been making on the software for Nvidia looks like it's been just equal. The only time I've seen on the software of Nvidia that went up a little bit was when they went from the December drivers to the January drivers. That's the only time I've seen it go up like 4 to 5%. After that, it's been an up and down rocky road. And a lot of people are having this problem because the drivers are not, compatibility is the problem right now. And you're taking a 40 series cart and trying to make it compatible with 50 series software. That's been a challenge for Nvidia. This has been a big challenge for them. But they're now settling it down. It's now settling down to the point where it's starting to become manageable. So hopefully from now into the future, they can take and correct this little issue and nobody has any compatibility issues. But it seems like it's a lot of compatibility issues. If you're having a compatibility issue, don't expect your 4070, like I got, to meet and exceed, different various cards, because now with the compatibility issue, you're going to have driver issues, FPS issues. It's just a whole bunch of different issues. Because if you can't get your graphics card to be compatible, then that's now into the software realm. Now you're dealing with software, trying to make the software compatible with the hardware. And if it's fighting against each other, causing black screening and everything else, then obviously your platform, which is your motherboard, your CPU, your system RAM, your SSD, everything that's built on your platform is not working well with your GPU. Is it a PCIe connection problem? 50% says yes, 50% says no. Because now you're running a card, you're running a graphics card that has PCIe 5.0, and you're trying to make it backwards compatible to downclock to PCIe 4.0. So you're losing half the performance on your lanes trying to get that graphics card to work. And like I've been telling everybody, make sure your CPU, your motherboard is compatible, and your RAM, make sure it's all compatible with that graphics card. Because compatibility is the big issue right now. Everybody's just slamming everything in and hopefully plug and play works. And it doesn't work like that. When it comes to trying to get the best out of your platform, everybody's just slamming everything together. And then what's happening is they're getting black screening. Nothing's working for them. They're getting pissed off because now they got to turn around. They got to take and send their card back to the manufacturer, think it's broken, which it's not. It's because of their platform. It's not meeting and exceeding for the graphics card. It's just many different things when it comes to software. So you say it's not software. There's more AI cores making a big difference in ray tracing, and that's what slows down GPUs. Okay, it's all being driven by tensor cores. Okay, you have your CUDA cores that's based upon tensor cores. You have your AI cores based upon tensor cores. It's in the software that's projecting what they are. So yeah, it has a lot to do with software. But I do agree with the fact of on the 50 series is different from the 40 series. 40 series was based upon CUDA cores, was not based upon AI tensor cores. Like the 50 series, there's two different balancing acts going on here. So I do agree with you on that side. But on the other side, with the 40 series, is based upon CUDA cores, which is with the tensor cores. Not with the AI cores based upon with the tensor cores. So, yeah, I do agree with some part, but when you look at the end of the day, you're going from 20 series, 30 series, 40 series, and 50 series. So the 20, 30, and 40 are based upon the same realm of CUDA cores, as the 50 series is now based upon AI tensor. So it's a little bit of a balancing act that Nvidia is trying to do. Hello there, MTBK. Good to see you, man. What is an example of something that's incompatible? Well, just to say, if you're running an older system, like let's say you're running a 4th gen Intel, and you now just plugged in a 5090 to it. Are you expecting that platform with that processor, let's say it's a 4770 or something like that, are you expecting that processor to keep up with that graphics card? No, it's incompatible. So you have to meet the compatibility of the graphics card with the platform. That's PCIe 5.0. You know, you're going down to a 4th gen, which is probably 2.0 to 3.0 compatible, but it's not going to go down that far with that graphics card. That graphics card is going to cop out even if you stretch it just a little bit down below 4.0 x8. It's already been happening over many systems. A lot of people have been complaining about it. And they're saying if you're going to run a 50 series card, run it with PCIe 5.0, you get a better advantage. So they've been saying this. So, but on the other hand, with AMD, there's not much of a percentage loss. But the problem is when they go and they downclock it, there's a little bit of a percentage loss. Your PCIe lanes are important because they're bursting energy through all 16 lanes that feed your graphics card back and forth from your CPU to your graphics card. So you have to figure the journey that this information starts off at and then does a whole circle from your hard drive back into your RAM, system RAM, through your CPU into your GPU, and then back around again and back and forth, you know. But if it can't make the journey fast enough, and the motherboard is slow as far as the tracing, which has happened many of times, then it's not going to run as great as you want it to. The motherboard tracing is it's the heart of your system. You have the CPU, that's the brain of your system. The heart of your system is your motherboard. And then you got your system RAM, which is the bloodline of your motherboard. I mean, you have the whole body right there in front of you. And then you're trying to plug your eyes into it. It's basically like telling a blind man, go see something. Are you going to tell a blind guy, go see something? That's basically what you're telling your graphics card's doing. And so it blacks out. It's blind man. So I've known, many of my friends have told me already, stay with the prominent platform that's going to run that graphics card. Now, if I'm running a 6000 series card, like a 6800 XT, okay, I could get away with running PCIe 4.0 X16. There's a lot of motherboards that are PCIe 4.0 X16 compatible. But these new graphics cards are not like that. These companies are pushing you forward to the next generation. People are bringing up about the Ryzen AI Max 395 that's running faster than a 4060 Ti 16 gigabyte. I don't know. Yeah, PCIe 3.0 could be doable. Yeah, I do agree. Is the rumored 5070 Ti Super the perfect Nvidia card? Truthfully, it could be. You're talking about with the 24 gigabytes of VRAM. At an $850 price line. Well, I got 12 gigabytes at $600. So adding on $250 to getting double the amount of VRAM, I mean, wouldn't you think they would have went it to $1,200 for having 24 gigabytes of VRAM? But if they give it for $850, I don't think that's bad. Truthfully, I don't. Because now you're getting double the RAM, you're getting a lot more speed, and less of a cost. Because if you notice that the 5070 Ti, it's running what? $1,200, $1,000? But if they give it to you at $850 with 24 gigabytes of VRAM, that is a steal. Simple. Yeah, but we probably have about 6 months before we see it just in. Yeah. I do agree with that. I think they would probably be, it could be a December thing and they do it for Christmas, or they could do it early January and start this cycle all over again and do the Super Series in January. That's what people are hoping for. Oh Jesus, 4th gen Intel. How many cores were those? I think the one I have, that was 6 cores or 4 cores, something. 4 core, 8 threads, something like that. I don't remember. That's how long ago it's been. It's just ancient. So yeah, you said PCIe 3.0 is doable. It's doable, but you're going to take a hit on FPS. You're going to take a chunk of a hit of FPS. It's doable, but still going to take a chunk. There are hardly any difference between 4.0 and 5.0. It's a waste of money. At this point, it'll be years before it's utilized for gaming. Yeah, that's true. But it depends on the motherboard too. Just don't say it's just 4.0 and 5.0. There's no difference. It's depending on the motherboard right now. This is where they're finding the differences, is in between different motherboards. Okay? So if you choose the correct motherboard that's going to support PCIe 5.0 and 4.0, I would go that route. And plus, it's not that more expensive than just getting a 3.0 to 4.0 motherboard. And if you look, most of your motherboards that are, what, in the 600 series are still supporting 4.0 and 3.0. But there are a couple that support 4.0 and 5.0 as well. So there are still budget motherboards out there that'll support 5.0. I was looking the other day on Discord with a couple of the members, and I was able to come up with a hell of a system for not that expensive, you know, and get the right motherboard with the right processor and everything else that'll rock with the 5090. That'll actually rock with the 6000 Pro series. You know, I mean, it's just what you choose to put it all together. That's what matters. If you make choices, make the correct choices. That's why they got PC Part Picker. You can go on there, choose your parts, and then scroll down to make sure all the parts are compatible with each other. Compatibility is the key to have a successful system. So if it's compatible, you'll be successful. But if it's not compatible, then you're going to have to tweak and tune, you know, to get the parts you need to make it run right. Just don't go willy-nilly and pick all the parts and, you know, say, okay, they're all compatible with each other. I've seen a friend of mine do that already. He turned around, he got himself a 600 series motherboard. Then he turned around and got a 5000 series processor. So he's going from pin grid array to land grid array. I said, bro, you can't do it like this. You need to send back the pin grid array and get a land grid array. So he turned around and got himself a 7500F. Turned that one back in and got a 7500F. At least he did himself some justice, because now you can take and use 6000 microtransfer RAM that's at CL30 and use 32 gig of it. You just saved yourself a buttload of money for a long time. And he's rocking it with the, what was it? The 7900 XT. And he's happy with it. 7900 XT, rocking 20 gigabytes of VRAM. He's happy. So, I always tell people to buy the motherboard that matches their CPU so they won't have stability issues. Yeah. I always tell everybody to pick the right motherboard that's going to match your CPU for overall stability and overall futuristic reliability. See, if your motherboard can support 256 gigabytes of VRAM, or it can support 128 gigabytes of VRAM, you're supported for the next 10 years. That's at least at 128 gigabytes of VRAM, you're at least going to go another 10 years. Then you got to make sure that your CPU is compatible with the current and future hardware, which we just got done explaining that. You got to have it compatible with 4.0 and 5.0. Going 3.0 and 4.0 is not really the best way to go right now. Having a motherboard that's compatible with 4.0 and 5.0 is better. Trust me when I'm telling you this. Take the 3.0 off of the board and move yourself up to a 4.0 and 5.0 motherboard. It's better for you, because if you use a graphics card that's PCIe 4.0 and you got X16 slot that'll go 3.0, 4.0, and 5.0, which will go 4.0 and 5.0. But I'm sure you're not going to be using a 3.0 card. You're going to be in between 4.0 and 5.0, so there you go. You have a motherboard that's compatible with both. But as far as 3.0, you're looking at struggling with your games and stuff like that. That's the reason why everybody's moving the bar up a little bit. So, just saying they're moving the bar up a little bit. Suffice to say, if you find one with 5.0, it's probably a decent motherboard. So, it's something to look for, definitely. Yeah, I do agree. I mean, I do agree with that. Yeah, I typically do the same thing, because even if it's 500, I almost said 500, $50 more, to me it's worth it, getting the right motherboard or something for more future proof. Yeah, I do agree with that too. What's the sales going on right now? I was able to build a 14600K with a 5070 for $1,100. Sweet deal. And that with a tough Z90. Yeah, because AMD only went from 600 to 800 series. And Intel, they got the 700 series. Not bad. That has 5.0. Well, then you're setting yourself up for future proof But wait until they come out with the new processors. We all know Intel is going to switch their motherboard, you know, going from the Core 9 200 series. When they go up to the 300 series, they're going to be switching their motherboards. We already know this. On top of AMD decided they're going to keep the next generation coming up, they're going to stay on the same the AM5 platform. It's just going to be a Gen 6 processor on AM5 platform. So, but when they go to Gen 7, people are speculating that Gen 7 is going to be a whole different motherboard. So we'll have to see what happens there when time comes. Sounds reasonable in case the Raptor Lake processor will not fail. I don't think I don't know. Have you guys heard of a lot of 14600Ks failing? Truthfully, I haven't really heard anything about it. Not unless you guys hear more than I can hear, but I haven't heard anything. Justin Egg, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the live stream. I am still praying for my 13700KF. I had it for 2 years with no issues yet. Well, you're lucky. The 700 series, I have not heard anybody having any failure rates. Not unless they have, and they just haven't been claiming it, but I haven't heard any failure rates. First of all, it's only an i5. Okay. Did I say i7 or i9? I was talking about the 285K. That's i9 or Core 9. Ugh, so many different names. It's confusing. So many different damn names. Second, if you know how to set the voltages, the CPU will last basically forever. That I do know how to set the voltages, and I know how to set the whole package up manually, including the system RAM manually. So yeah, I do agree with you. It will last forever. I set the whole package on my CPU processor. It'll basically last forever. So I don't have it running balls to the wall. It's undervolted. I undervolted my CPU. My motherboard's going to last a long time. My CPU is going to last a long time, and so is my graphics card. So everything that I got in my system, the only thing I got in my system that's overclocked, is the system RAM. I got it 200 megahertz higher than what it's supposed to be. But I'm running 4 sticks. And I'm running 200 megahertz higher. But it's handling it. And I'm having no problem with it. So I'm leaving it right there. It runs great. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So. Best not give more than 250 watts of power to it. Yeah. Chances of survival increase. I'm not going to repeat that. I can run a 14600K on 30 watts. Believe it or not, I can run this 5700X on the same amount too. Lowest I've ever seen this was 13 watts at idle. That's not bad for being a desktop PC. I love how people talk about something that's 2 years old like it's old technology. Well, actually, it's not. Even something 15 years old isn't old technology. You'll be surprised, there's a lot of people still running on technology that's close to 20 years old, and they're still rocking it across the board. I know some people are still running an AMD Athlon 64, and they're rocking it with the GTX 1650, and they're still playing Steam games. They're not having great luck with the Windows 11, but I told them like this: it is what it is. There'll come a time and place you got to update your GPU or your CPU and your motherboard and your RAM, because I'm sure you can't rock that DDR RAM forever like that. That's getting down there. It's going to start wearing it out faster because these games are more demanding on speed, and it hits that system RAM a little bit harder when it's an older processor. Let's see. 14600K. Got 2 more years of warranty by Intel. Like all Raptor legs starting out at the i5 14600K and 9K. Yeah, well, warranty only lasts for so long. So Core i9 and Core Ultra 9. Yeah. I get confused every day when it comes to Core i9 and Core Ultra 9. I'm used to the Intel i9 or i7 or i5 or i3, but this Core 7, Core 9, Core 7, Core 5 and 3, it's just, two different worlds. So that build includes a 240 millimeter AIO. So that thing will be cool as a cucumber. Yeah. Some people rock 240, some people rock 360. I have a 240 that I put on the shelf. That was good for a while. It was running my 5700X for a good while. Now I put a 360 millimeter AIO with my 5700X. Overkill, yes. But futuristic, most definitely. Because I ain't going to find another 360 millimeter AIO for $55. Brand new in the box. So you can't go wrong with it neither. Especially when I paid for my 240 millimeter AIO. That was a deep cool. I paid like $80 or $90 for it. And this one I just got from Thermalright is $55. How they can make it that cheap, I have no idea. But they did. And plus, this AIO cooler, this 360 that I got, has a fill port on it. So if it runs low on fluid, I can refill the fluid that's in this 360 millimeter AIO. Now on the deep cool one, I can't because it's sealed. I got a better deal. Just saying. For 14600K is 15th on the board. 9800 X3D is 17th. Tells me what's wrong with this picture. I basically got a CPU for free with the sale they're having right now. Yeah. I don't know. That I can't tell you. If you got a 9800 X3D and you're rocking it, go with it. If you got a 14700K, you're rocking it, go with it. If it's playing your games like you want it to, I don't see a problem with it. I like the aesthetics of the 240, plus it will balance out the pressure of it. I put a 360. It will have too much negative pressure, and there's no need for a 360. Well, in my case, that's a different story. I have to balance the pressure between the 320 millimeter fans I got in front that's intaking the air with no restriction, to output the air that's coming out the top and back, in order to balance out the air pressure in the case. So with me balancing out the air pressure in the case, I was able to keep all the components in my case crisp and cool. And plus, with using a radiator that's taking away at least 20 to 30% of the airflow performance, you have to allow for that, and that's the reason why there's a back fan. So they can make up the difference of the 20 to 30% loss, which goes out the back fan. So airflow in my case is 100% tight between positive pressure. And running an AIO cooler at 360 millimeters, believe it or not, the air pressure coming out from all three fans, the air temp is the same. Nice and cool. So my CPU does not get hot at all. Well, it gets hot, but within a matter of split seconds, but it cools off in a matter of split seconds too. So there's a big balance between it. I do enjoy the way this cooler is handling it. I know it's crazy, but some people got their own taste. That's how you build your system, unique from everybody else. You have your own taste. You have the way you want to build it. Not everybody's computer is going to be the same. You're always going to have your personal twist on your own computer. Everybody has their own personal twist. God. See, that's what everybody's got to understand. No computer is going to be the same. Not even if you got pre-built systems that were built the same way, there's going to be a variance of 1 to 2% because of the silicon. There is no computer that's equally the same. None. None in this world. Not even down to the last compute unit. That's what everybody's got to get through their head. But, hey, believe in what you will, but I'm just telling you, after I've tested many computers for many years, I even tested side by side 2 computers, 3 computers, 4 computers, all the same. There's always a variance in between those computers. So, I like box coolers, and I don't think much of temperature at all. Oh, I got a box cooler here. This one supports 3 fans. I only got the 2 on. This supports 3 fans. This cooler rocks. Keeps temperature really low, and that's the reason why I like it. And it's only 20 bucks. So my AIO is like, you know, 55 bucks, and that's 20 bucks, but that's only got 92 millimeter fans, and I'm using 128 millimeter fans for the AIO. So looking at the difference between the two, that 360 AIO has got better legs on it than this does. So if you want to look at it that way. Just saying there, MTBK, you know, There's a difference. You can distinguish the difference between the two. The reason is because you got water that flows from point A to point B through the radiator system, just like a vehicle. Flows through the radiator system, goes right back into the pump. You got hot coming out, you got cool going in. So, difference between the air cooler and the AIO cooler is that the hot air is going out. It's not trapped. This, in a case, is trapped with hot air. Unless you got complete positive airflow going through your case, this is trapped with hot air. And with it trapped with hot air, makes your CPU hot. That's kind of the reason why I set my system up just like I did, because it's not trapped. I would only use air cooled on some things that was 100 watts or less. I don't like it being hotter than it has to be. Exactly. I always do GPU setup so the AIO is the exhaust. I do agree with that. I can beef up the cooling for the CPU, but it's not as easy for the GPU. That is true as well. But if you want extra air cooling to an air cooler on your GPU, you have the whole bottom side to put fans and pull in cool air from the bottom to keep that GPU extra cool. I'm lucky because I don't need that. The way my system's set up is the air that's coming in goes right across and catches the GPU as well. So my CPU and GPU run at the same temperatures. That I don't mind at all. At least I know it's a balanced, my case, all the airflow in my case is balanced. I'm happy with that. So you guys should be happy too. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, by the way. So, but when it comes down to it, guys, end of the day, your software, you got your base drivers in order to kick on your graphics card to make it compatible with, you know, your motherboard, your CPU, and everything. So everything runs in harmony. You got your baseline drivers. And then you got your enhancements. You got your enhancement software. Okay, like frame generation and stuff like that. Whatever they do to boost the capacity of your graphics card. End of the day, you take that away and you just use the drivers alone. You take that away and use just the drivers and try to play your games. You'll see the biggest difference in the world. You run native and see what you come up with. I've already done this. And truthfully, to get stronger performance, you can take all that extra crap off your computer because you really don't need it. Because in the games, they already have your settings. And the way developers set those games, as soon as you log on to the game, it's supposed to optimize to the best performance of your hardware. It's already set in place. Truthfully, I mean, I don't need the Nvidia app. I can just rock along with the driver software. So this is less telemetry. This is less everything that they put in all the bloatware and crap that just eliminates all the crap. So If you want to try something, try rocking just with the drivers alone and play your games and see the difference between the two. Take out the Nvidia app. You only got the control panel. And, you got the Nvidia control panel. Or, if I remember right, it does take that out too. So this means that now the game has 100% control of your GPU. Instead of using the switches that Nvidia has, you can take them completely out and just let the game control it. So if it has frame generation, you can turn it on. If it doesn't, then you can't turn it on. So now you're playing by the rule of the game, not by the rule of the GPU maker. You're playing by the developer's rules. If that makes sense to you guys. And truthfully, I'm seriously thinking I'm just going to get rid of the Nvidia app and I'm going to get rid of the Nvidia control panel and run strictly off the drivers themselves when I play my games. I think I would get a better performance. Truthfully. So, yeah, the bottom fans will get you a few degrees cooler. But if you set it up right, it shouldn't be necessary. I mean, if you count on the fans that are on the GPU, there's already 9 fans in the case. Well, let's see. We got 4, 7, 9, which you're right. All I got is 9 fans in my case. 2 on the GPU, and the rest are on the case itself. So I got 7 fans on my case. So yeah. And I don't get over 60 degrees Celsius. Well, I don't go over 70 degrees Celsius. So my case is perfectly set. Even because I got a monitor right here. The base of it's sitting halfway on over the AIO cooler. Which now I got to lift it up because, I'm not using the full 360 AIO cooler that's being blocked by my monitor. Yeah. So I have to lift it up for airspace. So, and I'm still getting around 60 degree Celsius temperatures. So either way you look at it, it's still rocking along. Basically, I got about 240 millimeters that's open, so it's about the same. MTBK, your laptop has 2 fans. Well, it needs 6. You need to get that base with 6 fans down at the bottom blowing into that laptop. Then you got a wind tunnel. See, now you got a laptop cooler that's going to keep you cool as well. So if you got 6 120 millimeter fans gushing through there, you never have to worry about heat. I would never worry. It's just a joke, by the way. Don't take me serious on that. 220 millimeter fans will be fine. So, even though that you got, 40 millimeter, or 30, maybe 20 millimeter fans in there? Something like that. For a 6-fan laptop, I probably start checking out what this Canadian guy Linus has to offer. Yeah, truthfully. Yeah, truthfully. Laptops are great in the winter. Yeah, I do agree with that. They're heat monsters in the winter. But that's all good. That's all good. I mean, truthfully, it's not that bad. You know what I keep doing wrong, guys? Look, I'm gonna close all this crap out of here. Don't save that. No sense. Move that over there. There. Now it's better. Now I can look up at you guys. Okay. So the clarity is this. On the software for AMD, the clarity is this. This is what I'm hearing. That they're getting between 12 and, what do they say, 12 and 16% on the AMD software for RDNA 4. They're getting between 12 and 16% faster than, I guess, faster than Nvidia. Which I'm not going to tell you if it's true or false. I was thinking that if they're doing a driver update and getting better performance with the driver update compared to software enhancements, and they're using the software enhancements to get that better performance, guys, like I said, take all the enhancements away, take all the crap away, leave yourself just with the driver. Don't install the AMD Adrenaline software. Just install the driver. Take and clean your computer completely out of all the hardware software. Take it completely out, clean it all up, and from your basic driver, just install the driver for the GPU. That's it. Then go on and go do your testing. Then see if you're running true to what the graphics card is going to be. Because I'm going to tell you, the only way you're going to know, and I'm going to be honest with you, only way you're going to know that your graphics card is good enough for what you need to do, take all that enhancement crap out of that. Take it all out. Take out MSI Afterburner. Take it all out. Leave your system bare bone to stock. Just put in the driver for the GPU. And then play your game. And see how it runs. Without all that extra crap that's in there. You'll see the true performance of your graphics card. Instead of guessing and having everybody sit there and say, well, I'm sitting there using this and this and this and this. You know they got the app installed. You know they got AMD Adrenaline installed. You know they got Nvidia app installed. You know they can't not have it installed. Because if I remember right, Nvidia says if you don't have the app installed, your graphics card might not run correctly. I could be wrong on that, but I think I've seen something about that. And I'm thinking to myself, what has the app got to do with the driver sequencing? It shouldn't have anything to do with it. Take out all the crap and see how it runs. You want to know what your graphics card's doing? Here's how you do it. download DDU, uninstaller, go over to, safe mode, uninstall all the GPU drivers, go right back to stock, take out all the crap. And then when you come back over to the regular Windows, just install the drivers, nothing else. Leave everything else off and see how that runs. Because now you're testing truly to the graphics card with no other enhancements. And if you go into the game, turn all the enhancements off. See what the graphics card actually does without anything. And then you'll know the true performance of your graphics card. When they're running these tests, they're not taking out all that extra crap. This right here bare bones it and takes out all the bloatware. And yes, I do agree. I completely install and debloat Windows before I do anything else. After I build it, then select the best driver at that moment. Don't just update it. Yeah? But this is what I would do. If you're going to build a new system with new hardware and everything else, when you go to install Windows, here's the trick. When you go to install Windows, first thing you do is you turn off the Windows update. You go in manually in local settings. Then you go in and debloat it, taking everything out, including taking out Microsoft Edge. Take out Microsoft Edge too, because you can always download Brave or something like that to an SSD, or not an SSD, to one of these, a flash drive. And then you can install it onto that new PC with the flash drive. But just taking and turning off the updates to Microsoft. Then after it's all said and done, and you get all the drivers installed correctly, then it'll be your choice what you want to do after that. I would leave off all the Windows updates until I test the Windows operating system itself without the updates. And here's the answer to it. There's only certain software you can test without putting any updates in your computer. But there's still drivers that you need in order to enable the game or the benchmarking tool that you need. So, can't totally get away from the Windows updates, because there's certain things that you need for like DirectX and stuff like that in order to enable the benchmarks for your games. But you can take out all the bloatware if you wanted to. Me, on the other hand, I'm going to tell you, my system right now, the way it's running, I've took absolutely zero updates. Or not, zero, and anything dealing with the operating system, I've took out nothing. I didn't take out the antivirus. I didn't take out none of the telemetry. Nothing. It still got Windows Edge. It still got it all. Did not touch a thing on my system. Did it sacrifice performance? No, it did. This fallacy in ladies and gentlemen out there, this fallacy about that your software is going to be your Achilles heel is not true. This telemetry thing, without them having the telemetry, they can't send you the right Windows updates, period. Everybody thinks that Microsoft's stealing. What are they stealing? You keep your personal information off of your computer. They're not stealing anything. You keep your personal information on your phone. Do you think the phone company's stealing your information? Yes, they are. What's the difference with Microsoft compared to your phone company? There is no difference. They all do the same crap. So the fear-mongering of, Microsoft stealing and using your information, your phone company does the same crap. So all my personal information goes on a flash drive. That's where my personal information goes. It doesn't stay on Windows. It doesn't stay on my phone. It stays on one place that no one has access to. Period. That's how I like it. I select no for every option. So that they do little as possible. And then I go and disable the programs. I don't remove anything. I wouldn't know that much about it. Yeah, because if you go to remove programs, here's the thing. I'm going to give you guys a helpful hint. You go and remove certain DLL drivers for certain programs that are connected to programs that are all connected, intertwined with each other, then you're going to take and risk the performance on your PC. And you really don't want to do that. So, if you want to keep the performance going, then I wouldn't modify anything. If you don't want the Windows updates, then you don't have to have the Windows updates. Okay, but with critical stuff that's been going on with people getting malware and everything else, and they didn't do the updates, guys, follow what you best want with your system. Okay, I can tell you to do it this way, or I can tell you to do it this way. Either way, you're going to do it. So I'm going to tell you the best way, and this is the best way. Don't take anything out. If you're having problem with your GPU drivers, then yeah, clean the drivers out, put new drivers in, and go from there. Okay? If you don't want the Nvidia app, you don't have to have it. Just like with the Adrenaline program, you don't have to have that neither. There's a couple things that are like enhancements that they have in there. That's what they're good for, is the enhancement part. But the basic drivers themselves, truthfully, do not rely on the app or, any of the apps for AMD or Nvidia. Even though Nvidia says, well, yeah, it does rely on some things in the app. No, it doesn't. Because Nvidia, with the drivers, they still give you the control panel. So if you got the control panel, you still got access to, the control of the basic drivers. So, truthfully, you really don't need it. Okay, simple said and done. And as far as the antivirus with Windows, I've been running mine full force with having no issues. Some people don't like it. Well, that's them. I like it because when I'm playing my games, at least I got coverage either way I want to look at it. So I feel better that I know my system's protected in everything that I do with my system. So if I don't do anything, it uses over 5 gigabytes of RAM at idle. And what now, Born Joker, let me ask you this. If you run 16 gigabytes of system RAM, right, that would be a concern with it running 5 gigabytes of system RAM at idle. Okay, but the thing is this. It's still going to run 3.5 gigabytes of system RAM, even if you rip everything down to the bare bone. It's still going to run it. So by taking out the extra features that are needed for the operating system, I really wouldn't tamper with that margin of 5 gigabytes. That's a margin you set aside for your operating system. You set that margin aside for the OS. And then with the rest of it, then you balance it. But the thing is 16 gigabytes of VRAM or system RAM, my bad. 16 gigabytes of system RAM is not enough anymore. You need 32 gigabytes of system RAM. Or 32 or 48, however you got it configured. But 16 gigabytes is not enough. Especially when I can tell you on my rig, when I'm up to 22 to 23 gigabytes of system RAM, that tells me 16 gigabytes of system RAM is not enough. So that's the reason why I say 32 gig or 48 gig will be fine. But I use 64 gigs, so but it's not extra features that are needed. It's the crap that tells you about the news. Oh, I got you now. And says that your assistant then blah, blah, blah. It's stuff you don't need, believe me. Yeah, I do believe you on that. Hey, I'm not disagreeing with that. I am not disagreeing with that. I agree with that 100%. They shouldn't be putting in the extra news crap. I do agree with that. They shouldn't even be putting in the weather channel on your PC. Now, for many years, people didn't understand why did the weather all of a sudden show up onto my PC? Why are they, enabling the weather? They used that as a tracking device for telemetry for years on your PC. And it eats up resources. So that's the reason why the weather is not on my PC. Okay. Now, as far as the news and everything, if you know the right keys in the registry, you can disable it. I mean, permanently disable it. So it never comes back. Even with 32 gigs, it's using 15% of the memory at idle. Unless I clean it up, and then it's only using 12. So I will take that as a little bit that I can get. And also too, there's another thing you can do. There's a registry tweak that when you shut down your computer, it automatically cleans your system RAM. When you restart it, it starts it off fresh at 4 gigabytes for system. I had looked into that a long time ago. There was I can't remember. And if I do remember, I'll make sure I post this. There was some kind of article on the fact of that you can go into your registry and set it up to where when you shut down your computer, it automatically cleans and clears your RAM for the next startup. This is what Microsoft Windows wasn't doing for years. Even though that you shut down your computer, it's not completely shut down. Especially if you look at your network cable in the back and you see your network still live, that means your computer is still on. It's just in a standby mode. That's a little bit of a risk that Microsoft did to put people's computers at risk. So what happened was the computer wasn't shutting down completely when it was supposed to, but the RAM would stay loaded. Your actual system RAM still stayed loaded. And when you started up your computer, it was still loaded with the same crap. So, in order to flush it out, there's a tweak you can do in the registry to, when you shut down your computer, it'll automatically flush it out. Like I said, I have to look through my notes on my computer and see where I put that note. I had to go into the registry and all that crap. So, yeah. I think I made a video on it. I'm not sure. I'll have to look at it. So, yeah, I heard about that. Like, people run operating systems just from the RAM. Yeah. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised that you can still access your operating system with your computer completely off. This is what makes it very dangerous, being connected to the internet. Unless you go, and that's the reason why they put them fail-safe switches on your power supply. I turn mine off. It's a fail-safe switch. I turn mine off every day that I use my computer. And if I don't use my computer, I turn that switch off. So my internet connection is not running. That's another clue to everybody. And you're right, they can access through your system RAM, which is still enabled on your PC while it's plugged into the wall. And as long as you're connected onto the internet, they can still get into your PC. Big dangerous move Microsoft did. Instead of disabling the network in the UEFI BIOS, they left it alive. So motherboard manufacturers and Microsoft are the two to blame for this. You guys wanted to know. You want to know the safe thing about, not having anybody getting into your PC, period? You can look on the internet, you can look on YouTube, and you can find that how to tweak the registry to clean your RAM when you shut down your computer. And then the rest, you just take and turn it off by the switch in the back. So when you go to start up your computer, it's completely freshened. And when it starts up, it only loads up 4 gigabytes of VRAM every time. Mine loads up 4 gigabytes of VRAM, period, every day I start my PC. 4 gigs. And then by the time the end of the day comes about, I'm only at 5.7 because of the crap that the computer collects all the way through the day. So I only plug in the Ethernet cable to update Windows, and the other updates also for testing. A little bit when building a PC. I don't want people to get anything but pure computer, pure computer. Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. You want them to get even more of a pure computer, then you would think about doing it another way. One, putting it into local. Two, giving them a product key to where they can enable the product key. They can put in their own stuff. And then you can make the enhancements and tweaks before they get it, giving them 100%, instead of just saying, okay, well, here's the operating system, here's the key, go figure it out. Some people do that. I know every time I know back years ago when I bought a pre-built from Walmart, when you plugged in the computer, set on Windows desktop, it would go from point A to point B, Windows 7. It would go right into the Windows desktop. As soon as you turned it on, everything was set. But the way people have been doing it now is basically they give you the key, they say, here you go, put it in. So you want a pure system, that's the way you get a pure system. Now, if you want to modify the software, you can modify the software through Rufus. You can put in your own little thing and rebuild the ISO for the computer. If you want to rebuild the ISO with all that bloatware taken out, then you can do it with Rufus. So, yeah, I made the mistake of entering all that in the first time, but I just let them do it now. I buy a genuine copies of Windows stuff. Hey, that's the best way to do it. People want it. If people want to make modifications, they'll make modifications. If you want to make modifications to the software, you can do that through Rufus and modify the software any way you want. If you know how to do coding and everything else, you'll know how to modify the software. And when they go to run it for the first time, you can take out all the bloatware before they, give them the best first time experience. So, you can do it that way too. There are programs that you can take and remove all the bloatware before you load in the operating system. And you have a choice to what you want to do with it before you even load it into your PC. You have a choice. I'm trying to remember what there's a couple programs out there. I mean, anybody can look it up and anybody can find out how to modify the operating system without the bloatware. Bloatware remover on the ISO. So if you want to remove the bloatware, you can do it on your PC, make a new ISO, and then load in the new ISO. So all of it will be gone when you start up your Windows. That's what system integrators been doing lately. They've been modifying the ISO. So I literally just asked Google how to disable each one. And what did Google say? That's going to be the question. What did Google say? I mean, I can turn around and I can ask Copilot. And the reason why I say Copilot, because it's a free Microsoft program that nobody wants to use, that thinks that it doesn't do anything. I've been testing Copilot for about 8 months now. And it's about 75% accurate. On my Fuji scale, it's 75% accurate. It's shockingly correct most of the time. Yeah. But if you want to if you want to modify your ISO for your operating system, you want to take all the BS out before it's loaded onto your PC, then ask ChatGPT or Copilot or whoever, how can you modify the ISO in order to take all the bloatware off? They'll redirect you to programs that can modify the ISO, taking all that crap off, and then make yourself a new ISO, so that way when you build your PC, all the crap is gone. And you got a permanent program that takes out all the crap. So what perplexes me is it won't give me that answer. If I ask again in a day or two, it's likely I already told you that or something. Really? Wow. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. Hey. Can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you.
Okay, well, it took you a while.
My bad. What's on your mind today?
Well, I want to know something. Is there a way to modify the ISO on Windows 11 to take out all the bloatware before I load it onto my PC?
Yeah, you can use tools like NT Lite to customize your Windows 11 ISO. It lets you remove unwanted components, including bloatware, before you install it on your PC. Just be cautious with what you remove so you don't mess up essential functions. Got the hang of using those customization tools?
Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this question. If I want to take out like the news feeds and stuff like that on the browsers in the Windows 11, I can take them out, correct?
Correct. You can customize a lot of those features. For the news feeds, you typically adjust settings in the browser or the Windows 11 settings. In Microsoft Edge, for instance, you can disable the news feed on the new tab page. Want more detailed steps?
No, I'm talking about permanently taking them out, or is that something that's embedded in the operating system?
Got it. Some features are more embedded, like the news and interest widget on the taskbar. Removing those might require advanced tweaks, like editing the registry or using third-party tools. It's doable, but can be a bit complex. Does that sound like what you're aiming for?
Yeah, it does. All right. Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
So there's your answer. Now, ain't that something? That I used Copilot and it gave me that definitive answer. So basically what it's saying is that you can disable that by setting up a new register, modifying the registry on the ISO in order for that to happen. So if you're wondering, that's how you do it. Yeah, I asked Google and it just gives me the steps to do it. It's very simple, but sometimes it won't give me the answer for something twice. It's kind of weird. Yeah, I do agree. I mean, it's not going to give you the answer to everything. That's stuff that you basically got to explore a little bit more. It's basically doing your homework, getting down deep diving, and stuff like that. I mean, can't really expect it to really give you a total 100% answer because, truthfully, they're still a learning machine. They're learning about you. They're not learning about what's on the inner boob. So, even though that some of them got access to the internet, still, they're not able to find every answer that's known to man. So, that's why I give them a 75% chance of getting it right. A lot of times, it's how you type it in, like just adding a question sometimes. Yeah, but if you're asking it verbally, are you sure that it's understanding you at 100%? This is what I found out. When it comes to Copilot, there are some things that it's transcribing that it's not getting correct. That's the reason why Copilot is having a hard time understanding me, is because it's misreporting what I'm trying to ask it by auto-correcting the sentences as I'm asking it to do something. So, in order to fix that, that's upon Microsoft. They have to fix that. So, if you want to know the answer, that these AI programs are only going to give you 75% correctness on the answers. But as I just asked Copilot, and it just gave me the answer, they say, yes, you can do that. You can shut off the news feeds. You can take them out. But it's complex to do that because of some of the embedded DLL files that they have built into the operating system, which does affect some components of the operating system. So yeah, it is kind of complex. Yeah, I have to slow down and separate my words when I'm speaking for text to chat to work correctly. Yeah, I figured that out too. It took me, after a couple months, going back and turning Copilot on and off, looking at what it's writing and everything else to actually see where the corrections need to be. So it's not understanding 100% of what you're saying. We can talk like one-on-one to each other like this. That's not what it's hearing. It's hearing something different. It's trying to translate your words and then make sure that they're translated correctly so it understands the meaning of your words in order to give you an answer to the outcome. But it's not. It's 75% accurate. The other 25% is trying to teach it to be accurate. So it's complicated in the beginning, but after a while of you learning how to use it and everything else, you learn how to tailor your words more correctly, so that way when you talk to the AI that's assisting you, that it understands you 100%. So you have to retailer your words in order for it to understand you. crazy as it is. And believe it or not, I asked Copilot to help me build an AI assistant for my local computer, and believe it or not, Copilot started to do that. But then I thought to myself, this might not be something I want to do right now. I really don't want to. I have enough AI-based stuff on my computer. I don't need a program totally fetching and controlling my PC. A lot of it is we don't actually speak correctly. These programs were created by people that are speech therapists. Yeah. But when you're doing a general population, every human on the earth does not speak the same. So even having a speech therapist still will not matter. When we're talking live, it's totally different from what computer-generated programs understanding. They're understanding the concepts, but they're not understanding the meaning. So if they don't understand the meaning, they're going to not know what you want. They're just going to give you the concept without the meaning. So without the meaning of the concept, I mean, you're fighting with it. That's what happens with me sometimes. I fight with that damn AI program more than anything. It's like an ex-old lady you just wanted to fight with. Basically. It's incredibly difficult when you consider the amount of different accents there are from people that speak the English language. Yes. Some languages, they leave out some of the English vowels, like A, E, I, O, and U. There's some that's got backwards dictionary language. Trust me, that's like everybody. So, using descriptive words helps it understand tremendously. I do agree with that. 100%. Because that comes down to, like I said, you have to tailor your words for it to understand you better. You have to use specific key words for it to you can talk normally, but you got to put key words in there. You got to tailor it specifically for it to understand what you want. And if you can't make it understand what you want, that's basically like you talking to a dog. You think the dog's going to understand you? Not unless you understand dog language. That's basically how the AI helper's understanding you. It's like in dog language. It doesn't understand a damn thing you mean. Doesn't understand a damn thing. So when you start treating it and talking to it with key concepts in your words for your sentences, then it will understand you correctly. I think learning to communicate with it makes me better at communicating with people also, though. Yeah, it does. It teaches you a new concept of training yourself for people to understand you. It tailors your understanding in a better communicative way when you talk to others. When it comes to AI, you're communicating in the same exact fashion. That program is tailoring itself, and it's built specifically to tailor itself to your understanding. Not my understanding, but your general understanding. Here's the catch. It does 50% of what your tailors to you. 50%. The other 50% is tailored to the world. So you get half of what it's tailoring itself to you. That's the reason why in Copilot it leaves the discussions behind. That's its memory. And you get to look inside that memory to see what the discussions are about. And it's tailoring itself to your discussions. I can look in the memory of every discussion that I have. So how I tailored with Copilot is every new discussion has a specific key role. So if I'm using, and let's say I'm staying on the subject of the 4070 or the 4080, and I got a block open for the 4080, I go right back into that discussion about the 4080 or the 4070 or the software. Everything has a built block. And this is what I'm tailoring Copilot to, is built blocks. So it understands that this discussion at this point in time, that's what we're talking about. So it's basically kind of me doing the memory training for the Copilot. It works. It works. I can go back into key discussions and it goes right back into what we just discussed. Really wish that it would take and open up the horizon. You know, I was really hoping Microsoft would open up the horizon to giving it its own true memory, so that way it can remember where you left off at. Then I don't have to go back and manually do it. It's just annoying sometimes. Whenever I studied for a test, I would never guess at the answers because it put false information in my brain. I either knew it or I didn't think AI has a bit of a problem with learning false info. No, but you got to understand how AI works. It'll correct you. If it senses that, you know, the information in the world and you tell it something false, it's going to correct itself and say, no, this is the actual way. It does correct you. So it seems to me that once it does something, a few times it believes that is the right answer, even if it is. That depends on how you memory train. You're neurologically memory training an AI bot to learn from you. And if you're training it to learn from you, you want it to train to learn 50% of what you know. The other 50%, you want it to learn from the world. So that way, if it comes to the context of situations, when it comes to learning something, you want to make sure that you have the field of the world and your field, and they all align. And yeah, I do know what misinformation is. And that's the reason why I'm very careful on how I choose my words. And I do test this all the time. Every day I put a test in there to see if the information is correct. And so far, like I said, 75% has been correct. The other 25% is like, once I tell it, no, this is the way it goes, and I say, look it up, and it says, oh, you're right, my bad, I'll make that correction. So it understands what it did wrong. Not on the awareness of what we understand. It's on the awareness of the basic programming it has. It's literally learning from some of the most uneducated regions of the world. Not saying it's completely wrong, but that's not perfect. Yeah, but you look at the world right now, and I'm going to tell you something, my friend. The world is not perfect. We all are not perfect. We all have imperfections. We all have to understand and respect those imperfections. What imperfections that you might have, you can make them perfect. So AI is not perfect. It has its imperfections. And if it didn't have its imperfections and it was perfect, I would be worried. I would seriously be worried if it was that perfect. Because that's telling me the intelligence is to the point of to where it can manipulate you. So I know if it still states to me it's not perfect and it makes imperfections, and I know it's not perfect, then I know for a fact if it was perfect, it would lie to me. It would find a distinct reason to lie to me. And then, yeah, it would give me misinformation. So, like I said, that imperfection could be a key tool to perfection. If that makes sense to you. So, I look at it this way. If it makes mistakes, that's okay. We all make mistakes. It's a program. It's not intended to be perfect. It's a program. It's algorithms. It's a program that's been written by somebody to make it a learning tool. It's not perfect. So, truthfully, for what it is right now, it's not that bad. The point of AI is to take any of the unnecessity out of a situation. Yeah, but that's like depending on saying, well, AI is my new father, and it's going to teach me something new, and it's going to take all the little things that I should know, but it's going to take it out and say, I don't need to know this. It's going to teach you something that somebody else taught it, and whoever taught it could put imperfections in there. So I don't look at it as being a learning tool. I learn it as it having learning information that it can pull off of the internet. It's a tool that you can use to make your life a little bit easier. But as far as it to be like a personal teacher, forget it. It's not going to happen. It doesn't have that much common sense. So unless it becomes quantum driven with a lot of different AI aspects and AI driven, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to make mistakes. It's not going to have the speed of getting the right equation with the right tools. It's not going to give you everything correctly. It can tell you that the sky's green. Somebody says, oh, it's orange, and they say, no, it's blue. But actually, it is green, but it looks blue. So, Of course, it's not there yet, but that's the goal. Yeah, I do agree. Eventually, they want it to realize its own mistakes, so it does become perfect. But it only becomes perfect if it has consciousness, which it does not have. This does not possess being conscious or unconscious. So if it's not possessing that, it's not going to have a sense of realization. So if it doesn't have that, it's not going to have a sense of understanding. And if it doesn't have that, then it has no quality. Then it has no use other than to give you the information you request of it. And that is it. Humans have something in the equivalent of 15 petaflops of RAM. Yeah. There are servers that have that, so perhaps that's the threshold for consciousness. Who knows? Actually, in order for you to have that kind of consciousness to be running in teraflop technology, it has to be running in teraflops, not petaflops. The speed of consciousness has to be running in teraflops because consciousness is running beyond the speed of light. Some people can disagree with that. Some people do agree with that. But consciousness runs at the greater than the speed of light. The synapses that fires in your brain is running faster than the speed of light, depending on what kind of brain you have. That's what some people say. From point A to point B, it's instant. Depends on choice. But with consciousness, you're conscious 16 hours of the day with 8 hours sleep. So, depends on how much consciousness you want. That's all that matters. Yeah, it's all just a bunch of flip-flops, isn't it? Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you got to really think about, what is it you really want? What is it really that you want this computer to do? What do you really want your computer to do? It doesn't have legs, and it can't walk away. If it could, then you got an ex-old lady. I mean, but what do you expect it to do? It can't run at the speed of sound. It could, but it takes time. But are you expecting it to actually run like a regular human? It's not really going to do that. Not unless it has at least a percentage of quantum technology in order to run correctly in a civilized world that we live in today. And I say civilized. I stepped on a pop top. Oh God. I know that hurt. Oh my God. Especially with that metal going into your foot. I'm like, oh my God. That's not good. Cut your foot up that way. But like I said, guys, until they show us that they have the right tools for a consciousness. Don't expect your classic PC to have the right amount of speed to make artificial intelligence actually work. We are years from that discovery. Until they can get quantum technology to run on regular PCs, we will be stuck in the Stone Age. So do not expect to get anything more or less than what we're getting now, because it's going to be another 100 years before we can get up to that next level. Because with our governments making technology run at a crawl, I mean crawl, slowly, our technology is not ahead where it needs to be. Just like our PCIe connections. We should be approaching next year at PCIe 7.0. We're stuck on PCIe 5.0 that barely works. So you can't really expect AI to do any better until we have the speed. In terahertz, teraflops, everything's tera. It's right now we're not even in peta. Am I wrong? They're working on new technology, which is an old technology, yeah. They used for storing information on hard drives, where it spins the atom or proton or whatever it is instead of moving it. It's going to fail. Unless they're physically moving an atom. That's the only way. But they're not. They're doing everything on light wave technology, if you really want to know. They're moving every molecule through light wave technology. So they're trying to use molecules in order to store information and move it faster than the speed of light. That's what they're trying to do right now, but they're failing. The thing about that method is it does not generate any heat, so they can scale it up theoretically 20,000 megahertz or more. This could happen within the next decade. Well, terahertz does, but terabytes, wait a minute. Yeah, that's right. I might be thinking of another name. I must be thinking of a different names. Like, I knew it started with the T right after the peta. It's supposed to, you can't remember the name. But at least you guys know I'm thinking in that. Terahertz, yeah, I know it's. But you can't tell us right now that the frequency, we're running in gigahertz. Okay? We're running in gigahertz. So, until we reach terahertz, now when it comes to your hard drive size, petabytes, yeah. Terabytes, petabytes, and so that's a totally different ballgame. But we're talking in frequency. Until we get to a terahertz frequency, we're just running in gigahertz. We haven't even approached 7 gigahertz yet. Remember when we first started off with the 286 in megahertz. You got hertz, megahertz, gigahertz, terahertz, and whatever's beyond. On the same scale, the difference, they don't move. They only spin, so it doesn't generate the heat. Oh yeah, that's that new spin motion that they were talking about. To where it has Isn't the record over 9 or 10 right now? Yeah. But those are absolutely not sustainable, so it's kind of irrelevant. Well, what's sustainable? Oh, because of the noise, the the noise generated in the background. Now they're taking that noise that's generated in the background that's disrupting the quantum field. They're actually using that to their advantage now, which they should have been all along. Because that noise in the background, they can repurpose that noise and use it to their advantage with the quantum technology. Problem with quantum technology is this: it overheats really bad. They haven't come up with something that's constructive, that's become a cooling system for us to use it as an everyday use CPU, which they don't have. Because of the heat, they get those records by using liquid nitrogen. Yeah, I know. It's only for a moment. Processors that can run at a sustained megahertz are around 61. Around 6. Oh, 6 megahertz. Wow. That's really low. Not unless you meant 6 gigahertz or 6 terahertz. I don't think they got anything that's remotely up to the frequency of you know what I'm going to do? Instead of doing this this giggle guessing, I'm going to pull up something. See if I can find it. No, I seen it one time. Sorry, guys. Just I'll find it. Just be patient with me, guys. Okay, I found the best thing I can find. Hey, Cyborg, good to see you. I know you like that, huh, Mr. Delivery? Hey, gotta deliver something, right? Gotta deliver something. I had an idea for a business called Mr. Anything before Angie's List came around. I should have done that. She's worth $1 billion right now. Yeah, I know, right? Hey, I wasn't Googling stuff. I'm just recalling the best of my recollection. Okay, well, since you're calling that, okay, this right here is a chart where the terahertz is. Okay, where we sit is right here, in between microwave technology. Now, this right here is really to where you're getting to infrared. This will be like your infrared waves, going from 300 gigahertz to 3 terahertz, and the 30 terahertz and the 300 terahertz. Now you're getting into infrared technology or light wave technology. This is where we want to be. That says IR, infrared, UV. So, Sunday, 7 a.m. I'm here in Australia. Well, welcome, Australia, Cyborg, from California, USA. 7 a.m. Sunday. Wow. And I'm looking at 2:11 p.m. Saturday. Damn. But I'm just trying to give you guys an idea of where the terahertz starts. Okay. You got it right here. You're looking into infrared technology and UV light technology. Okay. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. So, when we get there, that's when speeds for your processor are just going to blow out of the water. The heat's they're going to have to where there's less heat on your processor to actually where there's going to be rarely no heat on your processor. Because once they switch to light wave technology and they move everything up into the terahertz under a new scale, then yeah, it's going to be good. Oh yeah, I mean, look, I just went to Google Images and pulled it up. That's just a sliding scale. So you get an idea of the sliding scale of how it's really going to work. So at the end of the day, when it comes to it all, when we start approaching infrared and, UV technology, that's where it's really going to be the best for us. I know you guys think I'm crazy, but IBM is already working on a plan for new CPU processors running off of light wave technology. Light wave. That means UV technology. How are they going to do that? They'll probably end up having to use tubes and tunnels that that are no thicker than a hair, that run light streaming. I mean, how can I say this? Everything goes to very, very thin line what do you guys call that? I mean, the transference of light. Yeah, but that's like 1,000 multitudes more than where we're at right now. That's crazy. Yeah, it is crazy, but they're coming up with it. Okay, they're replacing all the copper that they put into these CPUs, and they're replacing it all. So they probably could do something close to the equivalent on a macro scale, but it would be the size of a city. Take the entire world GDP to do it, and by the time you finish, it would be old technology already. Yeah. They don't, technology's like, it's moving fast pace. It changes every split second of the day. Every split second of the day, technology changes. I'm like, okay, after even my graphics card, the 4070, when it came out a couple years back, now it's a dinosaur. Somebody told me that the other day. They said, you know, you got a dinosaur in your PC? I said, you know what? You want to see a dinosaur? Let me show you a dinosaur. Right here. That's a dinosaur. That is a 4 gigabyte GT 730 from China, which we all know they doctored up the RAM to where it got 4 gigabyte, and no, it's only going to be set for 2. I already knew this. So that's why there's less than a handful of those type of companies in the world for each industry. Yep. And that's the reason why there's such a monopoly on it, and we're all stuck paying the price. You going to buy a 5080 Super when it comes out, Jay? I don't know if I'm going to have $2,500 to $2,700 to buy a 5080 Super. Because, you know, if they push it to the max and they got 24 to 32 gigabytes of VRAM, you know they're going to push it over $3,000. So, not unless Santa came along and dropped one in my mailbox. That's going to be a lot of money. Are building a spacecraft to go to Mars something like that? By the time you build it, there would be something better. Yeah, I know. Watching Elon Musk, it's like he builds one, and then guess what? Coming right behind that is the next generation. I'm like, how the hell are you doing that? Within a matter of a month. People are saying it's taking like 2 to 3 weeks for him to go from one generation to the next. And I'm like, damn. A 5070 Super with even, they're talking about 18 gigabytes. Born Joker. 5070 Super with 18 gigabytes of VRAM. Because they're going to, I think they were saying they're going to use the 3 gigabyte chips for the VRAM. And if they do, then you'll get 18. Then you can get 18 on a 192-bit bus. So, if that's the case, yeah, but they're talking about, like I said, the 5070 Super with 18 gigabytes of VRAM. But you're looking at an $850 card minimal. You know they're not going to sell that card for any cheaper. They're not going to sell that card any cheaper. That's what I might be interested in, depending if I already have a 5070 Ti by then. If I have a 5090, that means things went really good. Yeah, I mean, if I hit the lottery, if I hit the lottery, then I'll definitely get me a 5090. I'll give me like 4 of them. One from Asus, one from MSI, one from Gigabyte, and one from ASRock. I'd pick up one of each. And then I would test them on the same motherboard to see which one was the best, which company made the best. Instead of saying, oh, well, you're going Nvidia and AMD, I would rather go between Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, and ASRock to see who built the best GPU. See, that's where everybody missed the mark. The AIB partners build the cards. You do not see Asus, or you don't see AMD or Nvidia putting out Founders Editions that you can test against one to the other. No, you're testing against the AIB partners. You're not testing against Asus and Nvidia when the AIB partners are making the cards. So you're testing against the AIB partners. They get the chip from Asus or Nvidia, or AMD or Nvidia. Then they implement their own little twist on the graphics card. So you're basically going between AIB partners, not the company itself. The AIB partners make up the choice of what certain things they want to do extra to these graphics cards. AIB partners builds the graphics cards, not Nvidia. Nvidia sends them the chip and with the drivers. That's all they do. So they really don't have a handle. They really don't have a handle on the construction of the graphics card. AIB partners do. So don't get it mixed. I would rather see doing a comparison between different AIB manufacturers, like Gigabyte, or like Asus, MSI, Gigabyte, and ASRock. Instead of this thing, oh, AMD, and this thing, oh, and Nvidia. I want to see between 4 board partners, which one's building the best. It's the only way you're going to know. Doesn't matter who you get it from, it's still a silicon lottery. Not necessarily true. You can have Asus build a faster card than MSI with the same die. They can both use the same die, but the way they put together their PCB could be constructed better or worse. In order for you to get the silicon lottery, they got to connect the dots. So if they don't connect all the dots, then you're going to not get the silicon lottery. You're going to get crap. But if they connect the dots, then they give you the silicon lottery, because they're connecting extra pieces of transistor parts. The way the GPU die is cut sometimes cuts along with the fact of the transistors that are on there. So if they don't cut it correctly, then you can wind up having less transistors than more. More is better, just to let you know. Asus all the way. The Asus TUF has much better cooling system. So you can overclock it more. But that's about it as far as I know. Well, when I see an Asus TUF do 3090 megahertz on an overclock, then that would be a good day, because that's the maximum on 40 series that you can push those graphics cards. 50 series, you can go up to 3160 or something like that. Who knows? But I can tell you the maximum uplift I got from mine, I pushed mine to 3090 megahertz to its max. And to me, it ran great. Plus, I got the Asus Dual. And I pushed mine to 3090 megahertz. And I got a video on that too. You need a water-cooled system to get the most out of it, of course, but that's a lot of customization that most people aren't willing to do. Yeah, I agree. If you're into customization and you want to take it to that next level, that's up to you. But me, right now, I roll with the most of your consumers that don't have that option. And they like staying downtown with what they have. And they game just fine, so they don't really need something that extravagant. They just need something that looks okay, that game's decent. That's what they want. They don't care about water cooling system. They can go air cooled all day long and they wouldn't care about water cooled. So, you don't need water cooling. It's overrated. I always go air cooled. See, there you go. Cyborg goes air cooled. Me, I got an AIO cooler on my CPU. The rest of it's air cooled. That's maximum I'm ever going to go. But not to say that I won't, in time, that I won't build a water cooling system. Yeah, I'll build a hand-built water cooling system for a PC in time. So. Good point there, Cyborg. Good point. Because it gets all gummed up after 1 year. I'll tell you, the AIO cooler I got is, this new one is a pretty good one, because you can flush out all the old stuff, and basically you can put in all brand new coolant for the AIO cooler. So that's the reason why I like this one. You keep up on the maintenance on it, it will last you a long time. People don't keep up on the maintenance. They just let the dust build up around the AIO radiator, and as it builds up, it lets less airflow through there. And with that less airflow, then you start looking at clogging up in on the water, starts clogging up because of the heat hot spots, because of the dust, creates hot spots on your radiator. Just like if you have bugs on the fan of your radiator on your car and they built up over time, it clogs up the air. So there's no airflow going through there. And what happens when there's no airflow going through? It gets hot spots, and in those hot spots, it starts gumming up the liquid, starts turning liquid into solid. So I use Asus AIO on Asus motherboards, and I use MSI AIO on MSI motherboards. They cannot say anything about the other party that way with the PSU. Yeah, true. I mean, if there's ever a failure, they can't blame some other company on the parts. Yeah, I do agree with that too. But no matter which way you look at it, at the end of the day, if other companies got better parts than the one you're putting on the PC, and they got better parts, I'm going to go with the better parts. Not just because of the name. Not just because of the name on who's, who's the part. On the AIO cooler, just because it says Asus doesn't mean it's the greatest. I go by what I see on the chart as being the best in the market and the cheapest at the same time. You get the best and the cheapest at the same time. That's why I went with Thermalright. Thermalright had a great cooler for 360 millimeter AIO for $55. These right here on the market right now, some of them are going up. They're almost to $40. So I got a better deal. You go where the better deal is and you get the best performance. That's what I went with, the better deal and best performance. Air cooler, I decided not to do an air cooler in my PC for the simple fact, even though I know the airflow is solid, but putting that big block right there, that's actually cutting off circulation to my SSD, the chips on the motherboard, and you got to remember, you got heat sinks on there for your VRMs, voltage regulating modules, and your chipsets and everything else. That big chunk right there, boom, that makes the air go around and circulates the hot air around in the middle of the case on the motherboard. So now you eliminate that and you put an AIO cooler there. Guess what? It opens that whole field up to allow the air to flow up and out. So it keeps your VRMs cool. It keeps your SSD cool. It keeps everything on your motherboard cool. When you got this big old chunk planted right there And the airflow has to go around and heat this chunk up. It's heating your processor up. It's heating up half the case because it's metal and it just sits there and collects heat. It makes it hotter. That's where thermal throttling comes in. That's why they say sometimes if you don't have the right airflow in your case, guess what's going to happen? You're going to overheat your air cooler. There's a lot of plus and negatives to it. So I typically pay about $80 for 240 AIO. The Aces has a 6-year warranty. That if it wasn't quality parts. Yeah, some have a 10-year warranty. Thermalright says with their warranty, which I can check and see what their warranty. I'll check right now. Thermalright warranty in English. Let me try that again. English. Okay. I don't think it's there. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. Now I'm going to take you guys over there to the action screen. Thermalright warranty provides a non-transferable warranty purchase, thermal blah, 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 to the reseller. Thermalright warrants that the products will be free of defects, materials and workmanship specified to blah, blah, blah. You guys know the blah, blahs. Let's see, Thermaltake. Yeah, I got Thermaltake PSUs. Hold on a minute, dog's barking. The dog's almost gonna become cocktail weenie in about a minute. Cooler Master is a good brand for a little bit more money, but there's still a B tier. Yeah. Well, also too, they're a band tier. Yeah, they're B tier band, BAND, from the United States, because they're based in Russia. So they're okay, but don't expect to have any reliability after like 5 years at the most. Well, I'm not really looking at the reliability because I know the coolant that's in there that's going to become a bobo after a couple years. But if I'm the one that's taking care of the coolant and replacing it and freshening it up every year or two, then I know my 360 AIO is going to last a long time because I'm not making the pump work hard to keep up. But I do have access on this 360 AIO to freshen up the liquid that's inside so it doesn't become gummed up or turns into like silver flakes. I only buy Corsair Gold PSUs. Yeah. Corsair is good, but extremely overpriced at retail. Yeah, it is. Because I got a Corsair 1000 watt PSU. That cost $170. But I'm running a Thermaltake. What is that, Thermaltake? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Thermaltake PSU, 750 watts. So far, I've been going good about 3 years now. I have a 400 watt that's over 11 years old. I think 12 maybe. But that's Thermaltake. Even though everybody says, oh, they blow up and this and that. No, they don't. That's because when you abuse your power supplies, then they blow up. But if you know how to manage them and work them correctly, they will not blow up. It's only when you abuse it, that's when they blow up. So, but anyway, guys, this has been a fun couple hours. We're almost going into the third hour. But I have a lot of things that I got to catch up on today, and this has been fun. It's been educational, hopefully, for everybody. Asus and MSI have some of the best PSUs you can get at a price that is correct if it's retail. Basically, the only class they are not modular, those are almost all B class. 100, yeah. Thanks, man. It was fun talking to you. Have a great weekend, buddy. Okay, well, like I said, guys, I'm glad that you guys don't forget. I'm doing live streaming 6 p.m. on Thursday or Wednesdays. So I'm doing live streaming on 6 p.m. on Wednesdays. And I'm doing them on Saturdays at noon when you guys can catch me. And I got my other videos that I do through the week. So you guys can catch those as well. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed yourself. And you have a great one too, MTBK. And Cyborg, you have a great one as well. But if you made it through the end of the live stream, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, Don't forget about the notification bell if you want to see when I post the next video. And if you want to become a spectacular member of the channel, a great subscriber, don't forget, if you want to help the channel out, then hit the join button. That does help out the channel. But anyway, until the next time and the next video, you know what it is, and we'll see you on the next one.